Dear partners, participants, and trainer, can you hear me? Is it okay with my voice?
Yes, we can hear you. Thank you.
Yes,
Yes,
we can hear you.
Okay, thank you. So, dear partners, participants, and trainer, good afternoon to all of you. It is our pleasure to be a part of this online training course where you're going to get knowledge about political system and your rights. I wish you a successful training course and be creative and talkative during the sessions. I'm Lila Ivanovska, the presenter of the NGO Innova Lab Macedonia. I would like to present our trainer, University Professor Mladen Karadžovski. He is an expert in political system and he works at law faculty at the University St. Clement Ohridski, Bitola, North Macedonia. I invite him to open the sessions. Once again, welcome to all of you. As I mentioned before, the meeting and the online training will be recorded. So please be talkative, be successful participants. And during the sessions, I would like to say that it will be interactive activities. So please, once again, I would like to open the session and I invite the Professor Mladen Karadžovski.
Thank you very much, dear colleague. Yes, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
thank you very much.
Sorry, before you're going to start, Bogi, you raised your hand. Maybe you would like to add something before we start. Bogi?
Sorry, I couldn't hear you, Lena. Can you?
Because you raised your hand, maybe you would like to start with something before the online training course?
No, I just want to say.
Or
I hear
everything
you.
it's okay?
I hear you. Okay. Thank you.
Okay, so dear professor, you can start with this online training course.
Okay, thank you very much
Just
once again.
yours.
Thank you. Thank you very much once again for the introduction. I would like also to introduce briefly myself. I'm Professor Mladen Karadžovski, Professor of Public Administration and European Integration in the Faculty of Law, University of St. Clement Ohridski in Bitola. I'm really happy to be part of this workshop and to spend the day with you this afternoon. I'm happy to see many young people from around Europe or maybe around the world in this workshop. And I hope that we will have a very fruitful and successful discussion, and we will share our experiences, our comments, etc. So I will invite you to be active participants in this workshop. I will tell you some things, maybe you know about them, but maybe you will learn something new. Anyway, I invite you and encourage you at the same time to be very active. I would like also to hear your opinion, your attitudes, and of course to learn something from you. Not only professors teach the students, but sometimes students can teach also professors. So please be active. I will start the first part with some general remarks about the European Union, about its institutions, and about political participation generally. But if you have any questions during the lecture or any comments, please raise your hand so I can see it, and I will give you the word. So please feel free. This is the beginning of the summer, so we are starting with the relaxing times. So please not be so formal and be informal and active, so we can have a very fruitful discussion and workshop. I will try to share my presentation. I hope you will see it very soon. Okay, do you see it? Can you see it?
Yes.
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 Yes, yes, you can see it. Yeah.
Okay. So at the beginning, we will start with the discussing about the reasons actually why the European Union had to be established. So I will open this discussion and this lecture with this open question. What do you think? What were the reasons for the establishment of the European Union? Anyone want to add some comment about this?
Or maybe write on chat. Margot?
Yes, Margot, please. You can raise your hand so I can see it and at the list, and I will give you the word. Yes, please, Margot.
Yeah, my name's Margot without a T from
Margot,
Belgium.
sorry.
The establishment of the European Union followed the devastating First and Second World War, and an understanding between especially France and Germany with the Élysée Treaty that there needed to be kind of cooperation between the two, because if you cooperated on coal and steel, you cannot raise up any armies without the other one noticing. So this closer cooperation then evolved into the European Union.
Okay, thank you very much. And I can see also, yes,
Arena?
Rena, yes.
Yes.
Hello. Yes. So basically, basically the aim of the establishment of the European Union, as my colleague now mentioned about the World War, so basically to promote peace, especially with the diversity that this union has, and to promote freedom and democracy and everything that and every value that supports these the values like democracy and freedom and human rights.
Yes, thank you very much. I can also see from the chat some answers. Rebuilding Europe after Second World War, economic and political reasons, prevention of further conflicts, end of French-German rivalry, guarantee peace, and reach economic prosperity. Absolutely, you're all right. And I will, yes, according to Jean Monnet, the functionalist, the so-called spillover approach, the economic integration will lead to a political one. Yes, it's all true. We have another opinion. Yes, mobilizing expertise, this is the profile. Yes, please, you have raised your hand.
Hello.
Yes.
Hello, I am from Hello Youth. And I think as well the European Union was created because it was to prevent Germany to have another weapons, because after the two world wars, the risk was that the Germany should had again the way to have new weapons, and the European Union as well. It is the dream of the Pax Romana. It means to create something in which in which Europe is in path in peace.
Yes. Okay. Thank you very much. Anyone else wants to comment on this? I see some raised hands, but okay.
Mobilizing, raise the hand, mobilizing.
Yes, mobilizing expertise, but I don't see this.
This
Okay.
is-
I'm really happy for all these answers because in a way they're all true. Actually, we can summarize the reasons of the establishment of the European Union in a few sentences. The first sentence is actually that the people in Europe were tired of wars. We had the First World War, we had very soon the Second World War. The European continent was devastated, everything was destroyed, not only the physical infrastructure in Europe, but also the economies destroyed. People were demoralized, they were fed up with wars, with conflicts. So all these actually were the reasons for creation of the European Union, not only creation of the European Union, but also the other international entities and organizations like the Council of Europe, like the United Nations, NATO, etc., etc. So yes, generally people wanted something new. on the political economic stage, and people wanted something that will guarantee the future peace, and of course that will prevent conflicts in future. You have mentioned something about the French-German rivalry. It's true. Yes, the European Union actually put an end of this rivalry with the establishment of the European Coal and Steel Community in 1951 in Paris. Actually, started the control of the economics, the control of the coal and steel industries, etc., etc. So many of these European visionaries thought that if you cooperate, then you can control also your production, and you can gather people, and of course prevent future conflicts. And it showed that actually this 70 or maybe now 83 years, we have a generally successful project called the European Union, because fortunately we don't have serious global conflicts at the European continent all these years. Of course, there are a lot of problems, but anyway, there is no general conflict. And let's hope that it will stay in this position. We will discuss, of course, later for the development of the European Union. Okay, so
sorry, Mladen, okay, the slides are moving. Is it okay with slides, I think?
yes, I'm changing the second
Okay.
slide. So
Okay.
I will go slide by slide, so I can ask these questions, or I don't know, ideas for discussion, and then we will continue with all the participants. Okay, thank you. So when we know the reasons why the European Union is established, we will discuss later about these constitutional treaties, which are actually the pillars of the European Union law. Let me ask you, what do you think, what is, according to you, the European Union? How can we define the European Union? Do you have some ideas? I mean, do you consider it like an international organization? Do you consider it like an institution or something else? Yes, Rena?
Yes, of course, it's an international organization that has that combines around 27 European countries.
Yes, okay, thank you. Kadia, right?
Hello. For me, it's not organization, because basically it's not an institution, it's not a body. For me, it's really a union. It's political, economical union of 27 countries, which, yeah, of course, they are managed by EU institutions, but as a whole, it's just a union. So
Okay.
economic and political union. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Yes, we have Leila Meleti, cooperation. Okay, so we have another association for the European Union, cooperation. Yes, Rodwan, right? Please.
Yes, I think for me it's a more political union with common and same interests.
Okay, political union with common interests, a supranational governance level. Margot says, okay, yes. Another opinion? Its principles, priorities. Yes. Yes. Okay. Okay. I will explain actually why I asked this question. Yes, Mayasa.
I think it's more like an alliance or partnerships, like all partners that serve the same goals or interests. They have common goals. They need to share. They share between them, and they like work for these goals to achieve.
Okay. So alliance, partnership. Yes, it's another good term. But actually, my question was a law-based question, and I will explain it now why. Because when we discuss about European Union, there are many theories, there are many definitions. You can probably read about them. So there are theoreticians that say it's sort of an international organization, that sort of a federation or confederation. But generally, they agreed at the end that actually the European Union is entity sui generis. What does it mean? It means that has federal elements, that has confederal elements, that have elements of the international organization, and that has elements of some other forms of organization. Why I mention this? Because if you take the area of trade, let's say, you will have a classical federation, a classical union. But if you take the common foreign and security policy of the European Union from the other side, you will meet a classic international organization where everybody has to agree about everything. So everyone has right to put veto on some issue. So it means that in different areas, we have different type of organization inside the European Union. So that's why this entity sui generis is very specific, has very specific form and specific organization. You probably remember that in 2004 there was a strong attempt to establish the European Constitution, European Union Constitution. But unfortunately, the Dutch and French citizens on a referendum disagreed with that idea and didn't support the idea of a European Constitution, European Union Constitution. So we had then the reformed constitutional treaty, called Lisbon Treaty, and actually the attempt of real unification was disabled. And that's why we say we have different type of organization. Yes, anyone wants to add something? I see. Okay. So generally, maybe we will be right if we say that actually European Union is a specific entity sui generis, which consists a lot of models of organization dependent of the area. So is it a foreign policy? Is it trade? Is it competition policy? Is it agriculture, etc., etc.? We will discuss later about these topics and the competencies of the European Union. Okay. Okay. Regarding the historical development of the European Union, of course, I will not go into details for this part because it's a very long part, but I will ask you, would you like to emphasize some historical moment, according to your personal opinion, about the development of the European Union? I mean, sort of a real cornerstones of the development of the European Union. Which periods of the history you see as the most important regarding the European Union? Okay, so starting with the I mean, yes, Margot, the Maastricht Treaty, absolutely, I agree with that. About this, I meant starting from the Paris Agreement, finishing with the Lisbon Agreement. Yes, Lauren? Yes?
Dear Professor Lauren?
Yeah, I think also the discourse of Robert Schuman in the European Parliament is important in 1958.
Yes. Okay. So we have the Schuman Declaration. We have the Maastricht Treaty. Anyone else? So you don't see the Lisbon Treaty as something very important, right? As I can understand from your comments. But anyway, if we go historically, each of these constitutional treaties is very important for the development of the European Union. But maybe the real change came with the Maastricht Treaty. Sarah says Simone Veil being first, only just a second, please. First women to be president of the European Parliament, right? It's so for you this is very important, yes, including of the women in more political positions and at the head of the institutions. Yes, I absolutely agree. But we also have this the lady Ursula von der Leyen as you know, the president of the European Commission. Yes, it is important, the balanced inclusion of women in all these positions. But generally, if you see, actually, the European Union faced with a lot of challenges, problems concerning the development. There were a lot of successful phases and intervals of development, like 60s and 70s, but also there were some problems regarding the European Union, the development of the European Union. But anyway, yes, we have Single European Act. Yes, it's one of the constitutional treaties. Europe doesn't have history. They stole everything from Africa. Well, that's interesting remark. Okay, but I will need an additional argumentation for this. So it's not enough to say that it's like that. Okay, common currency. Yes, common currency starting from 2002, and euro is in practice. So yes, it is very important. So as you see, all these aspects are very important for creating a common union. Schengen agreements, yes, absolutely. It guarantees the free movement of people, goods, services, and capital. Erasmus Plus program is also very important especially for the young people around Europe and around the world. So as we can conclude for this concrete question, we can say that cooperation, free movement, and unification are some of the key points of the European integration. But also the Celtic culture, the pre-Romanic period. Yes, if we go into history, of course, we have a lot of influence from around the world. Everything is important for the global cultural heritage of the European Union. So all these aspects should be respected. All this influence of different cultures, of different people, different nation states are actually very important. Yes, not only the countries, but in the interaction of the citizens. Indeed, it's very interesting remark, because the main point is not to gather only the states, but the main point is to gather the citizens, so they can feel the European Union as their home. Because it's 50 politicians from each of the state, actually it's not the real representation of the state. The real representation of each of the states are actually the citizens. So when you have their involvement, their participation, and their activity, then you really feel the European Union like something unique, like something common for all the European countries and European citizens. So yes, we can discuss a lot about the historical development, but actually you pointed the key things for the historical development of the European Union. Now I would like to speak something about the concept of the European Union versus the concept of the national states, because it is generally a political and legal question, but it implies for the daily policies of the European Union. Why it is like that? Because, you know, European Union actually is not a state. It's a supranational entity, but it's not a state. So you don't have the same competences like you have in the national state. You understand? So what do you think should happen? So we have approach of these two different concepts: the concept of the supranational state versus the concept of the national state. Do you have some ideas? You agree with Talil question? I asked for some additional arguments about the stolen history from Africa. Let me hear another argument. Of course, it's part of the history. As I mentioned, we consider the European Union as a common concept with a lot of influences, with a lot of different nations, different cultures. So yes, there is influence from around the world, because there are a lot of people coming outside Europe that are now permanently in the European Union, in the states in the European Union. Okay, so anyone to comment on this different concept of the supranational versus national states? Yes, Lori?
Okay, I'm Joe Gracias. The concept for European Union is good, but it has a weakness for me, because there is no sometimes there is no consensus between to every country, because every country can vote. If it's a national state, it will be like a federation. So they will be powerful about army, for example, and to making the decisions about it, because every county don't really accept the EU regulations sometimes. So there is a weakness about the European Union concept.
Okay, so you consider this right for putting veto on some issues like a problem. So actually it shows that still, I will say unfortunately, still the member states are the real decision makers and not the European Union as a whole, because the current institutional architecture of the European Union is designed to be dependent from the decisions made by the European states, member states, and not about the European Union as an entity, as a whole. So it is a problem, but if we see from the legal point of view, you will need a new constitutional treaty, so this to be changed. In the current situation, we have to respect the last treaties, actually, the Lisbon Treaty and the provisions that come out from the Lisbon Treaty. Yes, but it's a good note, it's a good remark. Okay, so we come to a part which is EU is a federal state. It would be good to be federal state, but unfortunately, I don't see it as a federal state. But if you want, you can give me some arguments about your claim that it is a federal state. Demos is the most important part that distinguishes between an intergovernmental union and a supranational one. Yes, it can be, but how can the demos or the people decide away from the political representatives by the state? Okay, Margot, can you explain this? You're absolutely right.
Yeah, I focused in my bachelor's thesis about identity, and I noticed that individuals that felt European had a closer feeling that the European Union was more supranational, was like were more positive, more Europhile towards the idea of the European Union as something more than just a mere economic project. While citizens from countries, for example, the bigger ones with a stronger national identity, such as France, Germany, Italy, and the Nordic, did not feel that European. And so for them, the European Union was merely an economic project. So for me, the main step outside of the political, because this is not really something that a politician can decide, like, okay, you're going to start feeling European now. This is a bottom, something that starts from the bottom. The main goal with projects such as Erasmus would be to create a European identity so that people would feel connected to the European Union, which in turn might make them look more positively towards the European Union as then maybe 50 years from now, a potential federal state. That was my take on it.
Yes, thank you very much. A very interesting point, but actually I will add another sentence that if you want to articulate your opinion and your attitudes, you have to be more politically active. So you can choose your representatives in the European Union institutions, and they can promote your interests, your opinions in the institutions. I'm a skeptic that outside the institutions you can make something. You can make something through these citizens' initiatives, but I don't think it's enough. So you can change the European Union as a whole. You have to change first the European Union institutions, and then to influence of the general to have influence on the general concept of the European Union. Well, okay. Anyway, but you have to be active. You have to have a very active first of all, political participation, so you can have influence on the decisions which are brought inside the European Union. Okay, as you can see from this slide, this slide shows that actually we have the European Union as an entity sui generis, because there are some areas where the European Union have exclusive competencies. Let's say in the customs union, in the monetary union, especially for the countries which have euro as a currency, in the fisheries, in the sea resources, etc., etc. So there are some areas which are exclusive competence of the European Union, and the member states cannot change these decisions. But also, most of the competencies are the so-called EU shared competencies, where actually the European Union as a whole share the competencies with the member states. And this is connected with the agriculture, with the social policy, with the transport, with the energetics, with the protection of the environment, etc., etc. So most of the areas are in the framework of these so-called EU shared competencies. And there is a third type of competencies by the European Union. It's the so-called EU supplementary competencies. And this actually is area of the member states, but European Union can help, can coordinate, can give some expert opinion, and it is connected with the public health, it is connected with the education, with the culture, with the development of youth policies, etc., etc. So as you can see, there is a very heterogeneous structure of all these areas which fall under the competencies of the European Union. Some of them exclusively at the part of the EU, most of them shared, and some of them as EU supplementary competencies for helping the member states in the areas. And also in these supplementary competencies is also the public administration, which is also very important, because European Union does not have a unique model how to organize the public administrations systems in the European Union member states. So you have, let's say, European administrative space, they have many principles, etc., but the countries are not obliged to follow these the models. They should follow the principles, but they are not, obliged to have, let's say, 25 ministries, or I don't know, 100 agencies, etc., etc. They have a complete right to arrange the public administration services and institutions according to the national concept. Okay, something else you would like to add about this? Yes, Ramon, please.
Yes, thank you for pointing this out. I think it's also important to mention that the European Union has every year a specific theme. For example, this year is the European Year of Skills. Last year it was the European Year of Youth. In order to, let's say, draft policies in a certain direction, also for citizens to engage in these topics. So I think that was something that could maybe add to your discussion here. Thank you.
Yes, thank you very much. Yes, we will come also. We have a part which is dedicated to the political participation, especially of the young people. but we will come at the end of this presentation. Yes, of course it's a combination of the activities made by the institutions from one side, but also made by the citizens from the other side. Citizens not only as an individuals, but also citizens can be part of associations, of NGOs, or I don't know, maybe some other organizations, and they can contribute to the decision-making process. Yes, you're right. Okay, so let's move to the other point. We discussed about this, but I will only briefly, or someone from you, if you want to enumerate these constitutional treaties of the European Union. There are a few, so please, you can raise your hand and tell about these constitutional treaties. I'm sure that you know about them. Okay, anyone wants to start in? I will start the first. I will tell you about the first one, in the European Coal and Steel Treaty of the European Coal and Steel Community in Paris. Okay, continuing with the Rome treaties, of course, in 1957. Then we have the Unique European Act, and we have one of the most important treaties, the Maastricht Treaty, 1993. Then we have the Amsterdam Treaty, we have the Nice Treaty, we had the attempt for the European Constitution, and at the end, yes, Treaty of Rome is the second one, right? And we have the last one, the Reformed Constitutional Treaty, this mostly familiar as the Lisbon Treaty, which is actually the last treaty, and it's actually on the force. So we will wait for another constitutional treaty, so we can have another reorganization of the institutions of the European Union. For now, there is no any anticipation that something that will have a new treaty very soon, because the European integration process is unfortunately in a phase of stagnation. Okay. Regarding the legal system of the European Union, you have probably heard something about it, but generally we are speaking about the primary law, secondary law, and supplementary law, which is important for the European Union. We have mentioned all these constitutional treaties. Actually, they are the most important law acts regarding the European Union, and they come into the category of this primary law. But actually, the most frequently used law is the secondary law, which is connected to the daily functioning of the European Union. We have heard about, all these regulations, directives, these decisions, recommendations, etc. So all these acts are part of this secondary law of the European Union, and actually, these are the acts which are connected to the daily functioning of all the European Union institutions. Okay. Regarding the institutional structure of the European Union, we have several categories of the institutions of the European Union. First, we have these political institutions, we have the financial institutions, the judicial institutions, and quasi-judicial institutions. You have probably heard about these categories, but now we will move to the other slide so we can explain which of these institutions are enumerated in each of the categories. For the political institutions, you probably know all these institutions, I'm sure about it. European Parliament, European Commission, Council of the European Union, and European Council. Does anyone want to explain the difference between the different councils? Because there are actually 3 councils in Europe. It's the Council of the European Is the Council of the European Union or Council of Ministries, the European Council, and Council of Europe. Do you know the difference of all these three councils? Anyone wants to explain the difference? Yes, okay, we have Margot again, Council of Ministers, Council of Heads of States. Council of Europe is not any institution exactly, that is the right answer. Council of Europe is a European organization with more member states than the European Union. Okay, thank you very much. Amira says the Council of the EU only has EU states. Exactly, the Council of EU and the European Council these two are European Union institutions, and the Council of Europe is outside the system of the European Union. So it's not an institution inside the European Union. It's another international organization. Thank you very much. Okay, we go. It's financial institution. Yes, we have. Just a second, sorry. European Council gathers heads of states to discuss general priorities of the EU, and the Council gathers ministers to decide on different policy issues. Yes, actually we can consider like the work of the ministries like a sort of operationalization of the instructions given by the European Council. Yes, but as you can see, all these two councils emphasize the intergovernmental role, is the role of the governments of the member states, and not about the European Union citizens or the European Union as a whole. Yes, it is the difference. When we discuss about financial institutions, of course, we have one remarkable financial institution, which is very important, and it's connected also with the national central banks, is the European Central Bank. And it's part of this economic and monetary union of the European Union member states. And as you know, the main role of this institution is to promote the euro, to follow all these monetary issues, monetary questions regarding the prices inside the European Union. I didn't want, of course, to go into details regarding the European Union institutions because there are a lot of issues, a lot of questions to be raised. But do you like something to ask or to add some comments regarding generally all these institutions of the European Union? Okay, maybe I will move to the other side. Yes, regarding the judicial institutions, is the Court of Justice of the European Union, and this quasi-judicial institution is actually the Court of Auditors of the European Union, which is not a classic court, but it's more like a financial and revisory body, which has responsibility regarding the public finances of the European Union, all the incomes and all the outcomes. But before we discuss about the European Ombudsman, what do you think about these institutions? Which institution do you consider as the voice of the EU citizens, and also generally the EU citizens? Which institution do you see as the voice of the European Union citizens? Which institution is elected by the European citizens, to be more concrete? Yes, actually, it is the European Union Parliament. Yes, okay. Thank you. You're all right, because starting from 1979, the European Parliament is a real representative of the European citizens, because it's chosen, the members of the European Parliaments are elected on a general elections where all the citizens can participate in all the EU member states. So yes, starting from 1979, we have the European Parliament as the voice of the European citizens, and it's the only institution where the direct democracy can be practiced. So you go to on a European Parliament elections and you choose your members of the parliament coming from your country of origin where you live, of course, inside the European Union. What about the voice of the EU member states? Which institutions are the voice of the EU member states? We have asked this question a few minutes ago, as you remember. So the two councils are voice of the EU member states, the European Council and the Council of the European Union, or the Council of Ministries, yes. So these two councils are the voice of the EU member states. And if you made an analysis, you will see that actually these are the most important institutions in a sense of making decisions, not in a sense of meaning, because each of these institutions is important for the European Union, but the final decisions are made in the European Union Council and of course in the Council of the European Union. What about the voice of the EU as a whole, as an entity, as an integral community? What do you think? Which institution is this? Yes, Margot, you're right. And Ramon also is the European Union Commission. We often call this commission as a European Union bureaucracy, but sometimes it can be a real representative and real voice of the EU as a whole, because the priority of the European Commission is to promote the common EU interests of the citizens and common interests of the states in the European Union. So yes, you're right. These are the so-called voices of the different institutions, and as you can see in this institutional mosaic inside the European Union, each of the segments has an own representative. Okay, we will come back to the European Ombudsman. Do you have heard about the European Ombudsman? What is his role? What are his obligations or her obligations? Okay, he is responsible for the never heard. Okay, anyone heard about this institution? Okay, I will try to be very short and explain the main point of this institution. Actually, the European Ombudsman is responsible for accepting letters from the EU citizens, and he is responsible for the control of the of the work of the European institutions. So there is a phenomenon called maladministration, which means that the institutions not fulfill their obligations. Yes, it's connected with transparency in the EU, but actually, if the citizens feel that the European institution doesn't work their work properly, so they have a right to react and to put and to give some letters to the European Ombudsman, who makes a communication with the European institutions, so they can correct their acts. Okay. We have mentioned something about the currency of the European Union. You probably all of you know about this currency. Okay, regarding the Ombudsman responsible for handling complaints, yes, conducting investigation, facilitating solution and raising awareness, yes, all these aspects are part actually of the European Ombudsman work, yes, facilitating, but probably people don't use this opportunity to engage the European Ombudsman, and so he can be sort of a EU citizen lawyer before the EU institutions. Regarding the currency, you know that from 2002, actually, euro is effective currency of the European Union, and most of the EU member states are member of use the euro and are member of the monetary union. Okay, regarding the freedom of movements, you know that from the 70s, end of the 60s, we have freedom of movement of goods, services, workers, and capital inside the European Union, and all these freedoms are successfully and continuously improved. So we have in this part we have a lot made. European Union has made a lot of progress till now. What is lacking is actually the political unification and the foreign policy unification. Okay. Yes, we can discuss later about all these issues regarding freedom, security and justice, migration, asylum, visas. Regarding the common foreign and security policy of the European Union, I must admit that it is very, one of the most painful spots of the European Union, because each of the member states can put veto on the key decisions made in the framework of this policy. Yes, we have a comment about the euro fell because of COVID and Ukraine. Yes, it has some implications for all this first health crisis regarding COVID. Now this war in Ukraine, yes, has implications about the euro, but still the euro is, I think that the euro is still very strong, and of course not maybe as 10 or 15 years ago, but it's one of the most important currencies in the world. I think it will continue to be like that in near future. So unfortunately, the European Union doesn't speak in one voice regarding the common foreign and security policy. A lot of changes had to be done for this to be changed. As I mentioned to you before, a new constitutional treaty is needed, so you can change the decision-making process regarding the common foreign and security policy of the European Union, because in this way, one of the member states can block all the initiatives and all the policies regarding this CFCP. Regarding the enlargement policy, you know about the history of EU enlargement. I will not go, of course, into details because we will need a lot of time. But generally, we also know that this process is not finished, because the final goal of the European Union is to unify all the European continent. So there are many countries coming from the so-called Western Balkans which are still not part of the European Union. So European Union cannot be completed without Western Balkan countries, and now also some countries coming from this so-called Eastern partnership, like Ukraine, Moldova, Georgia, etc. So when all these countries will be part of the European Union, then we can discuss about the completion and ending of the enlargement policy of the European Union. As you know, in the history, there were some periods which were very fond of EU enlargement, where many states became countries of the European Union, coming especially from Central and Eastern Europe. You remember about 2004 and this massive enters of 10 countries in the European Union. But now, unfortunately, we are in a 10-year stagnation regarding the enlargement policy, and nothing changed after the Croatian accession in the European Union. Enlargement policy has to do with new potential member states' rights, such as criteria, monitoring, transitions, etc. Yes, of course. As you probably know, after the fall of the Berlin Wall and dissolution of Soviet Union and Yugoslavia, these criteria from Copenhagen were enacted in 1993, where you have categories of criteria: political, economic, and administrative criteria, which should be fulfilled by all candidate countries for EU membership. And the European Union makes continuous monitoring of all these processes for each of these states, and it is important to be for each of these countries to fulfill all these criteria so they can become members of the European Union. But it's only one side of the coin, because we have another side of the coin, and it means we have something which is called political will of the European Union countries. So if they are, eager to support the enlargement policy, then we can expect another state to become EU member. But if they are skeptic about EU enlargement, if they are fed up with EU enlargement, then we have a situation like this today. We have a period of EU stagnation regarding the enlargement policy. It depends on which thematic. It can be related to economic, social partnership, as EU third countries or enlargement has to join a member. Yes, of course, European Union also has many relations with countries outside the Europe, Asian countries, African countries, etc. But it's in a form of a partnership, not in a form of a potential EU membership. As you know, one of the criteria for becoming EU member state is to be a European country. So outside the European Union, it's not possible for another state to be part of the European Union, but it doesn't mean that it has no any cooperation with the European Union. There are many types of partnerships which are enacted by the European Union. Does Europe react to the confrontation between Kosovo and Serbia? It reacts, but unfortunately, I don't think that European Union is strong to decide such a sensitive issue, because in the past also there were many problems and conflicts at the Balkans. In the 90s, European Union did not manage to put an end of the confrontation. Actually, the United States of America had to intervene so this situation to be changed, as you remember. And I think that European Union actually does not have such a capacity to resolve such sensitive and big issues. It's more connected to humanitarian help, or I don't know, some logistic help, than real military help or high diplomacy help. Doing multilateral investment in a third country is a first step to join politically. Yes, it can be part of this strategy to join politically, but automatically economic cooperation does not mean a political cooperation. And the European Union is actually a witness about this. We have now in 2023, we have very economically united Europe, but unfortunately we don't have politically and military united Europe. So there are also a lot of things to be done in the future, so this perception to be changed. Okay, let's not speak too much about only enlargement policy of the European Union. Okay, now I would like to hear your opinion about the future of the European Union. What do you think that will happen in the near future? Will the European Union continue to exist like this? Will it be reorganized? Will it be, I don't know, destroyed or something else? What is your opinion about the future of the European Union? How do you see the future of the European Union? Anyone wants to? Yes.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
Well,
Please.
I think the future of the European Union is the pacification of the neighborhood country, which is not still part of the European Union, while doing investment in social, in economical and financial way in all the infrastructure in order to stabilize the environment in terms of security, and then maybe one day to integrate to it. It's what has been done in the Oriental partnerships, into the Black Sea synergy as well, and as you mentioned, it's what they are doing with Moldova, Georgia, and the whole those countries which are near with the European Union in terms of relation. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Yes, so you see the external help of these candidate countries as a modality for their approximation towards the European Union, as a sort of a modality of interaction and helping all these countries to be part of the European Union. Okay, we have a comment that Europe will fall because of the USA. Well, I don't know. I'm not so sure that this is true, because United States of America has a long-year partnership with the European Union, but the development of the European Union generally depends on the member states, on itself, not about some foreign forces like USA or I don't know, Russia or China. Okay, Mariam, please. Mariam, I don't know how to pronounce it. Sorry. Yes.
Yeah. Well, the thing that I was thinking about is perhaps not too much theoretical, but just from me looking around, especially lately with the European Year of Youth and this Year of Skills. I think that the future of European Union is very much linked to youth, and I think that it's being transformed from a very economical, a political, intra-governmental institution to a rather cultural thing that people identify with. Because now I can see that people, even in non-EU countries like Turkey and Morocco and other Mediterranean countries, really wanting to define themselves like they're linked somehow to the EU. So it's becoming more of a cultural thing lately, while it started as a very economical, political thing.
Thank you. It's true, because economic cooperation can also generate political cooperation, and all this partnership that European Union has with the countries outside the European continent help for improvement of the relations, for gathering the people, for changing ideas, for changing experiences, and it is good, because only in that way we can have a good relations of the EU with all these countries. But as I mentioned to you before, all these countries can have only partnership with the European Union, but then they cannot be a part officially of the European Union. Yes, we have another comment that it will remain as it currently is, unless it managed to resolve its internal conflict that prevents it from acting on a united front. Yes, I will share your opinion completely. It's my personal opinion too. I think it's quite stable for now, but the wars happening around Europe and around the world might cause a huge disorder. Some countries might end up leaving the EU and or causing trouble. Yes, of course, EU is not a faraway island, isolated from the world. All the situations that are happening, political, economic, and military situations, impact the European Union from outside. But I think that generally it's up to the EU member states how they will function in the future. Yes, there are some turbulences inside the European Union, but I don't think that some state will encourage itself to go outside the European Union. We not speak about the Great Britain. It's another issue. It's another question. It's another story. We are speaking about these continental European states. It's not in the US self-interest. Okay, different interests are different. Of course, the USA interests is their interest. The Russian interest is another type of interest. Chinese interest is a third. But EU has to take care of its own interests and the interests of the member states. I agree with Mariam. However, I believe that EU is not doing enough for its youth. Just 2 days ago took place the European Youth Event in the EU Parliament, but it seemed too soft and not so concrete for the youth. It's a shame that EU does not invest more in the youth. Yes, Amira, I absolutely agree. And now we are coming from at this part regarding the youth participation. I completely agree with you that European Union has to do more than just a strategy for inclusion of the youth in the political processes, in the decision-making processes, in the institutions of the European Union, etc. And you're absolutely right. But you are here as young people to change that by making more pressure towards your states where you live and the European Union as a whole. Yes, actually, we are coming we have started this issue and discussion about European Union and the youth. What do you think about national participation, political participation of youth, and supranational participation of youth? Do you think that young people are included in all these processes, in all these politics, regardless whether in their national states or in the European Union as a whole? What do you think about it? What we should do to change this situation? We have to define a better intercultural way between Europeans, maybe. Yes, please.
Hello again. I think several seminars and conferences has been done and implemented by the European Union in order to be more inclusive, but it's also to the states as a national ground to do it, to do more maybe within the education or within another way of participating and more inclusive towards the different parameters of the young citizens.
Okay, interesting. I will give you some information. It's part of the UN report regarding the political participation of young people. I found many interesting information, and I would like to share with you and discuss with you. Before that, I will read the comment of Mariam. As a Belgian young citizen, I feel rather included in the spirit of the EU, but it's limited to activities, conferences, but no actual policy making processes. Yes, your point is right, because you can have informal activities, conferences, seminars, but to be part really about this policy making process, you should be inside the system. You cannot participate outside the system. So in other words, you should be part of maybe of the political parties of the organization, or some organizations that can become part of the European Union Parliament, let's say, or inside the national parliament. So you can put your argumentation at the desk. You can argument it, and of course you can fight about your opinions and about your attitudes. If you're outside the system, I don't see that somebody instead of you will put your agenda on. Do you understand what I'm speaking about? So it's up to you whether you will participate, make pressure, and put on the table your agenda, your ideas, or you will be outside the system and you will only, comment and only comment on social media, let's say, or some other media. But I think that you should be inside the system, and that's why I'm reading this information from this UN report, that in the area of this political participation, in a third of countries, eligibility for national parliament starts at 25 years old or older. I don't think it's a good thing. You should wait to have 25 years so you can then start your political participation. I think that this border should be lower. Let's say 18 years. Only 1.75% of parliamentarians around the world are in their 20s, and almost 12% in their 30s. And as you can see, the average age of parliamentarians globally is 53. 50 years old for women parliamentarians. So if you see the fact that young people between 15 and 25 years constitute a fifth of the world's population, then you will conclude that the young people are underrepresented in the institutions. And we should work a lot to fix this fact, because not only me, but we will all agree that young people are the future of the world. yes, we have a comment that policy making process also needs effective communicative leadership from youth side for our communities and citizens to understand the consequences of complex issues. Absolutely. I'm not sure about all these different educational systems, but generally here we have law faculties, faculties of political sciences, of social sciences, where you can learn a lot about political participation, also for the young people. But I agree that many students that I don't know, study medicine or pharmacy or agriculture, don't know the path to political participation. And I agree that should be included more informal education so you can motivate young people to participate in all these political processes. Because young people can be definitely a creative force, dynamic source of innovations. In the history, we have a lot of examples where they contributed, participated, and even sometimes catalyzed important changes in the political systems, power sharing dynamics, and economic opportunities. So there are a lot of fields where you as young people can contribute and can participate in all these processes to change the situation. But we know that not everywhere in Europe and everywhere in the world, everything is ideal for the young people. In contrary, youth also face poverty, barriers to education, multiple forms of discrimination, and limited employment prospects and opportunities. And it has to be changed because if you don't include the young people, there will be no critical mass to change the older generations when they retire from their work. So the European Union, has a lot of strategies, programs, how to improve this, but unfortunately, they are not real concrete results. But you should change this situation as young people. Regarding the political activity, generally, yes, in universities maybe they are more politically active, but they are very often disillusions, skeptic about political leaderships, about political institutions. They are excluded from the political development. And of course, we have a result that political activism of youth is not organized according to formal groupings. And of course, also this situation has to be changed because it is the only way how to change the things, to be part of the system and to act from inside, not from outside.
Okay, dear professor, I think that according to the agenda, it's time for a break. We can continue on the following session. Thank you very much for your fruitful first session. So if you agree, we are going to have break, 15 minutes break, then we can continue where we stopped.
Okay, thank you very much. I'm sorry for the delay, but we have very active participants, and I'm really happy about it because we changed a lot of informations. So
yes, thank you very much for all participants also. See you in 15 minutes.
Thank you.
Dear participants, we can start with the second part of this online training course. Are you ready?
Yes,
of course.
Dear professor, what's next?
Yes, thank you very much. First, I would like to thank a lot for the patience of the participants for in the first part, because generally when you ask the student, the theoretical part is the most boring part, but with active participation of the participants and in this workshop, I hope that we made it a less boring part of the
Yes. It passed
workshop.
more quickly. Yes. Thank you very much, dear participants, that you have been involved in the previous session. So try to continue like in the previous session in the following session. And yes, we can start with, I think it's time for quiz, something like that.
Yes, we come to the more interesting parts of the workshop. Of course, the second part is actually the EU quiz, and I'm sure that all the participants will answer successfully these questions regarding the EU quiz. So I will present now put the presentation on. Just a second, I have some technical problems, but I will resolve them soon.
Technical problems are always part of the online sessions.
Yes,
it's normal.
Yes, I think that now it will be okay. Can you see the?
Yes, we can.
Okay. Everything is okay now regarding the technique. I will explain to you that there are 25 questions in the framework of this EU quiz. Most of them are with 3 potential answers, and you should guess the right one. And there are also some few questions where you have to answer by yourself the questions to enumerate to give the answers. Maybe the best way is to put your answers in the chat, so we'll all see them, and at the end we will discuss about the correct answer. And of course, you feel free to add some comments or questions in any part of the workshop.
Sorry for interrupting you. Is it possible maybe to divide the countries in groups in some kind of rooms and to see which country will be the first? What do you think?
Yes, we can do also.
Technical support, Bogi, what do you think? Is it possible to do that?
Yeah, I need to try, but when we separate the rooms, I think the main presentation will disappear, but I will try it.
Okay, maybe we should leave it for the third part, which is the longest part. Maybe it will be the best option. As you prefer, it's not problem for me.
There is another part for that kind of interaction?
Yes, the third part is the biggest part, where we can divide into groups and to present different
Okay, so we can continue in the following part, as you say.
Yes,
okay.
we can have the common chat now for the quiz.
Okay, good.
So to summarize the answers, and then in the third part we will divide into groups, and we have more time to do that, if you agree.
Okay, good. So we can continue like this.
Yes, we can start together. Some of the answers of the questions are given in the first part of the lecture, as if you follow the lecture. So we can start with the question, what is the European Union? The first answer is international organization, the second answer is federation, and the third is entity sui generis. So you can put the numbers in the chat for the answers, so we can see your answers. Yes, the technical support wants to.
Mladen, dear professor, sorry for interruption. There is a section at on the right bottom, and you can create a polls, and we can click for the polls.
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 Okay. Yes.
There is a triangle and rectangle and circular shape.
Yes.
And you can create there.
Start a poll, right?
Yeah.
Okay, but in this I should write the questions again, and to give the options. I think we will lose a lot of time for this. Maybe we'll leave this for the third part. Okay. So I will cancel this, and I will continue with the main chat. Okay, so as I can see, most answers are under 3. Somebody says that 1 is the right answer, but we will all agree that number 3 is the right answer, as we mentioned before, entity sui generis, accumulating all these elements for organization, federation, confederation, unitary state, etc. So we will define the European Union as an entity sui generis as the final answer. Then we have the second question. Can you see it? It's actually, yes, I suppose you can see it. So the European coal and steel community was based on the Monet Plan, the Schuman Plan, and the Marshall Plan. The first answer is the Monet Plan, the second is the Schuman Plan, and the third is the Marshall Plan. Okay, we have several answers. Yes, you can feel free to give the answers, and we will discuss it at the end. You have maybe 1 or 2 minutes to answer the question. Okay. Unfortunately, only few of you gave the right answer. The right answer is the Schuman Plan, the second answer, because the Marshall Plan was actually, maybe this was a little bit maybe confusing question, because actually the Marshall Plan was enacted to renew the European continent after the Second World War. And the concrete question was about the European coal and steel community. So we have the second, the number 2 as the right answer. Actually, the Schuman Plan was the plan which built the European coal and steel community. Thank you very much. We go now further to the third question, and it's an open question. And I'm sure that you know all the answers. Which are the 6 countries establishers of the European Union from the very beginning? Not this current European Union. I speak about the European Union in 1951. Do you know the countries which actually established the European Union? Okay. Yes, most of the answers are right. Germany, France, Italy, Belgium, Netherlands, and Luxembourg, or Benelux countries. Yes, they are the 6 member states which actually established the European Union in 1951. And then through the several waves of enlargement, we have today's European Union, which is consisted of, we'll see how many, because it's one of the following questions. Okay, thank you very much. Yes, this is the right answer. And the next question is very connected with the previous one, and I'm sure you know the answer. What does Benelux stand for? Maybe this is more question for the students that live outside Benelux. But yes, Benelux, as this acronym tells you, actually are, yes, the answer is right: Belgium, Netherlands, and Luxembourg. Okay, thank you very much. The next question is about the first president of the European Economic Community. What do you think? Who was the first president of the European Economic Community? The first answer is Konrad Adenauer. The second one is Walter Holstein, and the third is Robert Schuman. Okay. Okay, thank you. Different answers, many correct answers, many wrong answers, but actually the first president of the European Economic Community was Walter Holstein. Okay. Let's go to the following question. This is supposed to be easy question. Which is the newest EU constitutional treaty? First, we have Maastricht Treaty, second, Amsterdam Treaty, and third, Lisbon Treaty. I'm sure that all of you know the right answer. Yes, of course, at the end of the workshop, I will send the presentation to the organizers and they can distribute to you. It's not a problem, of course. Yes, all of you have the right answer. The Lisbon Treaty is the newest, which is actual constitutional treaty of the European Union. It is signed in 2007 and it entered into force in 2009, and it's actual till now. Till there is a new, of course, if there is a new constitutional treaty, then all the previous will be revised. Okay, thank you very much. We go to the next question. When did Poland enter the European Union? What do you think? The first answer is 1995, the second is 2004, and the third one is 2007. Okay. Good. I'm very happy about your knowledge. You have all the right answer. 2004, the second option is the right one. You know, Poland was one of these 10 countries that in 2004 entered the European Union. Yeah, yes, you know, together with Czech Republic, with Slovakia, with Hungary, with Malta, with Cyprus, Lithuania, Estonia. All these states became part, with Slovenia also became part of the European Union in 2004. Thank you. We are continuing with the next question. Do you know which country currently has the highest gross domestic product or GDP per capita in the European Union? The first answer is Luxembourg, the second is Germany, and the third is Finland. Okay, thank you. Well, we have divided answers, but most of them are correct. Yes, Luxembourg has the highest GDP per capita. We are speaking about per capita GDP in the European Union. If we take the country as a whole, not per capita GDP, of course, Germany it's on the first place, but per capita, actually, Luxembourg leads the EU regarding the GDP. Thank you very much. I'm really sorry that this workshop is not with physical presence. Maybe in future we will have an opportunity to organize this in person, and we'll have some awards for the students with highest percentage of right answers, maybe some chocolate or something else. So it will be more interesting in future. But for now, it's only online. Yes, Albina, please. Okay. Yes.
To have meeting or
I cannot hear you. Sorry.
thank you.
I didn't hear anything. Can you please repeat?
Yes, I can. Do you hear me right now?
Yes, it's okay now.
Actually, I congratulate you for this kind of presentation on this level. And it would be very great to be in a person that meeting, probably chocolates or whatever, just to have fun and to share knowledge. It's okay.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Yes, I hope that we can organize in future such event. Okay, we'll continue to next question. Just a second. Which country is not part of the so-called Western Balkans? First answer is Albania, second is Turkey, and third is Serbia. Okay, thank you. Yes, we have consensus about this, and you all know that Turkey is not a geographical part of the so-called Western Balkans. Okay, thank you very much. Okay, the next question is connected to economy. Which is the poorest country in the European Union? First answer Slovakia, second answer Bulgaria, third answer Greece. Thank you. Yes, most of the answers are correct. Bulgaria currently is the poorest country in the European Union. And this is a measurement which is made every year, so it doesn't have to be like in the future. Maybe if Western Balkan countries enter the European Union, probably the situation will change. But currently, having in mind all these economic parameters, yes, Bulgaria is the poorest country in the European Union. Okay. Now we go to ecology. Currently, what do you think, which is the less polluted city in the European Union? First option is Faro, Portugal. Second is Munich, Germany. And third is Vienna, Austria. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Yes, probably if you ask me before searching into internet, I will also answer Vienna, but currently Faro in Portugal is the less polluted city in the European Union, but also it's not a constant category. It can be changed dependent of the air quality measurement. So Faro, Portugal is the less polluted city in the European Union currently. And of course, now we come to another question, which is the most polluted city in the European Union currently. The first answer is Krakow, Poland. The second is Padova, Italy. And the third is Slavonski Brod in Croatia. Okay, let me see. What do you think? I saw only one right answer. Yes, you are right. Most of the answers are right. A few years ago, because Krakow a long time was the first on the list of the polluted cities in the European Union. But I found on the internet that actually Slavonski Brod currently has this unpopular leadership in the pollution of air. But Krakow was a long period the most polluted city in the European Union. And it is still also one of the most polluted cities in the European Union. But believe me, this list will be changed if all the candidate countries enter the European Union, because probably Skopje or Bitola will be very high at this list, unfortunately. Then we'll move to another question, which is the biggest country by surface area in the European Union. But pay attention, we are speaking about surface. So the first is Germany, the second is France, and the third is Italy. we have also division of the opinion here, but most of you are right. Yes, France has the biggest surface area in European Union without islands, only the only the continental part, of course. Okay, the next question is, which is, we have the opposite question, of course, which is the smallest country by surface area in the European Union? We have first Ireland, second Malta, and third Slovenia. Yes, we have a consensus here, so you know the right answer. Yes, Malta actually has the smallest surface area in the European Union. Okay, let's move to the other question, which is the biggest country by population in the European Union. The first option is Germany, second is France, third is Italy. I know that we will have consensus here too, right? Yes, actually, Germany is the biggest country in population, but because we have many Turkish colleagues here, you probably are aware that if Turkey enters the European Union, Turkey will be the country, Turkey, yes, according to the new pronouncement, Turkey will be the biggest country in the European Union. But currently, yes, Germany is the biggest country by population in the European Union. I think around 84 million, if I'm correct. But you can check on the internet the exact numbers. But anyway, Germany has the biggest population in the European Union. And now we come to the other opposite question, which is the country with the smallest population in the European Union. The first option is Ireland, the second is Malta, the third is Slovenia. Yes, the big majority of you is right. Malta is the smallest country by population in the European Union. I think around 400,000. The other countries have more population than 1 million. Yes, and I think that this, even if many countries coming from Western Balkans or from Eastern Partnership enter the European Union, still the Malta will be the smallest country by population. The next country is connected with the EU enlargement policy. What do you think? Which is the newest European Union member state? The first answer is Romania, second is Bulgaria, and third is Croatia. Yes, we have also consensus here. So you are all familiar with the enlargement policy. I'm really happy about it. You follow the enlargement policy of the European Union. Yes, Croatia is the newest EU member state, and actually Croatia, before becoming EU member state, was part of the so-called Western Balkans together with the other Balkan countries. But from 2013. It became member of the European Union, and now it's outside the Western Balkan box, and it's full member of the European Union. Yes, you're absolutely right. Then we go to the other question. It's very interesting question. Which member state of the European Union has the longest anthem? The first option is Austria, the second is Greece, and the third is Sweden. What do you think? I'm sure that will be different answers because it's a difficult question. Even I didn't know it before I searched it on the internet. But yes, actually, most of the answers are correct, which I see. Yes, Greece has the longest anthem in the European Union. I found it interesting, that's why I put it in the EU quiz. Now we are moving to some political questions regarding EU institutions. So who is the current president of the European Commission? The first option is Jean-Claude Juncker, the second option is Ursula von der Leyen, and the third is Jose Manuel Barroso. I'm sure you know the answer, as you confirm it on the chat. Yes, actually, Ursula von der Leyen is the current president of the European Commission. We have the other question connected to the European Council now. Who is the current president of the European Council? The first option is Charles Michel, the second is Donald Tusk, and the third is Herman Van Rompuy. Yes, most of you are right. Charles Michel is the current president of the European Council, although the other two were also presidents of the European Council in the previous mandates. So you're right. And now we come to the European Parliament. So who is the current president of the European Parliament? The first option is Roberta Metsola, the second is Antonio Tajani, and the third is Martin Schulz. Very good. Roberta Metsola is the current president of the European Parliament. Thank you very much. We continue with the European Union institutions part. How many members? Sorry, it's a typical, it's a typing mistake. How many members does the European Parliament count? What do you think? The first option is 650, the second is 705, and the third is 735. Okay, we have different answers, but the second option is the right answer, 705. After with the Lisbon Treaty, of course, 750 was the number of European members of the European Parliament, but after the Brexit and after the leave by the Great Britain, then we have this number of 705 members of the European Parliament. Of course, this number will be changed if other countries enter the European Union, if we have in mind the formula, but probably there will be a revision of the treaty after this happened. And this is connected question with the previous. How many member states does the European Union currently have? The first option is 26, the second is 27, the third is 28. Which option do you think is the real one? Okay, yes, it's the right answer. The second option is the right answer, because after Great Britain made the exit of the European Union, we had the previous situation of 27 member states. Previously, in 2013, when Croatia entered the European Union, then we had 28 member states, but now when there was a British withdrawal of the European Union, we have again 27 member states of the European Union. And now we go to this biological and anatomical part of the question of the quiz. Which is the tallest nation according to you in the European Union? First we have Denmark, then the Netherlands, and Estonia. Where are the tallest people? What do you think? Yes, most of you are right. Netherlands gives the highest, the tallest people in the European Union in some average measurement. And we have the last question, which is actually the opposite of the previous question, which is the shortest nation in the European Union. First option is Cyprus, second is Portugal, third is Malta. although Malta has the smallest territory and less population, the least population in the European Union, still Cyprus has the shortest nation in average regarding the European Union. Thank you very much for your participation in this short EU quiz. You have showed that you know a lot about the European Union, and most of your answers, of course, were correct. Do you like something to add, or maybe to add some other question in this quiz? Feel free to do it if you want to add to make an additional questions in the framework of this EU quiz. We have a few minutes more till the break, 4 minutes. So if you have some ideas about making your own question, please do it in the chat. Feel free to do it. Okay, probably you gave a lot of answers, so you don't feel that we need additional questions to this quiz. Okay, if that's the case, then I will thank you a lot for your participation in the EU quiz. I think that we can have another break now before we start our last activity. So
Yes, good job for participants and for you. Yes, we are going to have a break, and we can start in 15 minutes, 3:30. Thank you.
Yes, thank you. You can start.
okay, can we continue?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. So the third part is considered to be the most interesting part because it includes your very active participation. So I have one idea. Actually, this part should present you students as politicians. Can you see the presentation? I think you can see it, right? Okay.
Yes.
So this interactive part will be actually your role as politicians in the way of public policies creation and decision-making processes. So you should choose not only one of the following proposed areas, because it's only an idea. You can choose economy, protection of the environment, tourism, education, culture, art, agriculture, or some else area which you consider as an important. So the idea is to I will ask, of course, for the technical support of the organizers to create several groups. Maybe coming
How
from
many groups?
Yes, please.
How many groups do you want?
I don't know how many countries, students from how many countries are included in this?
We have total 8 countries.
8 countries.
Partners. Yeah.
Okay, maybe we can have division to 8 or maybe 4 groups, let's say. So two countries to form one group, students from 2 countries to form one group, and to choose some area for analysis. Let's say one group consisted of 2 countries students will choose economy, let's say, and we will give you a 15 minutes to make a brainstorming of the selected area. So it means that, let's say, you can make a sort of a public policy proposal for this selected area and give your argumentation for the implementation process of the proposal. Let's say if you choose economy, you can propose many things. What do you consider as important economic measures and creating a concrete public policy in the framework of the economy? Let's say to propose lower taxes, or I don't know, some vouchers for the young people. I'm only giving a few ideas. Of course, you will decide what is important for the development of the economy of the European Union. So you should imagine that you are in a position to be politicians in the European Union or in the member states, and that it's up to you to create the political agenda. What is important? What is important? So you should choose your priorities for the development of a concrete area, and you should present to all of us so we can see your opinions. It should be maybe in a form of a brainstorming. So you will give, in the framework of your internal groups, you will give your ideas and your proposals. And after this 5 minutes period of gathering your ideas and proposals, we will start the presentation of each of the groups, of the 4 groups. Let's say we will give 10 or 15 minutes for each group to present the proposals for the concrete area. And of course, we can then discuss all these ideas, if they are possible for implementation, if they are realistic, etc., etc. But what is most important in this current phase is to make the division of these groups, to select a concrete area for analysis, and to give your ideas and proposals for the development of the concrete public policy of this area. And of course, you can appoint your informally your porte-parole or a spokesman or spokeswomen who can present the conclusions and the proposals in the name of the whole group. It's up to you how you will organize that. But generally, the idea is to activate all of you and to give you possibility to be a public policy creators. So, did you understand the main idea of this workshop, part of the workshop?
Yes.
Okay, so I will ask you to organize, maybe because there are representatives of 8 countries, as I understood from the moderator, that you should find your partner country, let's say, students from your partner country, and to choose one of these areas which you want to discuss and to make a public policy for. Yes, Albina?
I would like to choose the topic for the environment. If there are students from the Germany, I would invite in the chat.
You come from?
I come from Kosovo, but right now I am in Germany resident, and actually I'm here with a point for the environment protection. So I would like to take that topic if you don't mind.
Yes, okay. I will go back to
If
the
you have
areas.
further questions, feel free.
Yes, you can see these areas, but these areas are only proposals. You can add some other area also. You're not limited to these areas. It's only a proposal.
Okay.
Yes.
It would be very fine for me if we choose a combination maybe of 2 or 3 topics: protection of the environment and in the same time agriculture, which is connected to the protection environment and economy too. So 3 of them is fine.
Okay, so you like to actually to take all these areas for analysis and to give proposals. Maybe yes, we can organize it in this way too. But anyway, the main point is that you can find your country partner and you can start the work in the framework of this group. Yes.
Okay.
We have raised hand. ASDE, right?
Yes, this is Naduka. I represent Finland, and I would like to talk about migration, culture, and education. I don't know if you would put us into these groups, and we can have people from these countries. I've not seen anyone raising hands in this direction.
Okay, so let me resume the thing, because you're interested in participation in more areas. So we will not limit the areas. Choose the area you want, but please group into, let's say, 2 countries, representatives from 2 countries, and make internal group and work in the framework of this group 15 minutes, and then we will expose all these ideas in the common chat. Is it fine, this methodology? Is convenient for you?
It's okay.
Okay, so okay, so let me note these partner countries. So we have Kosovo and Germany, right? Is it okay to have you in one country, as Albina said? Do you agree? So the moderator can create this group with these two countries, right?
Yes, probably yes.
Okay. So I will. Okay. The other countries. We have representatives from which other countries? Can you please write on the chat the countries where you come from? Maybe it's easier for me to divide. Let's say. Okay. All right. Okay. I will suggest at the start to if you agree, to have yes, but I see that we have participants also from outside the European Union and the candidate countries. We have also from Lebanon, Algeria, right? Algeria. Okay. Maybe it's good to start from the beginning. Let's say Finland and Sweden together as, you know, Scandinavian countries, right? To put in one, yes, maybe we can have Finland and Sweden in one group. Then maybe France and Belgium we have in the other group, if you agree. The third group, maybe we can have Italy and I don't know. Italy with who? I don't see. Sweden.
Slovenia.
Yes, Italy
Maybe.
maybe with Slovenia, and we can put Macedonia with Turkey as candidate countries. So I think, and also another group from all the other participants from the countries, because there are a lot of countries enumerated here. So maybe 5 groups is better to establish. So we have Sweden and Finland in one group, Italy and Slovenia in the other group, Germany and Kosovo, third group, right? Turkey and Macedonia in another group, and all the other countries. So, and the main point is that you can choose which topic you want and to give proposals under this topic, and then as a group you can present your conclusions. Is it fine with the administrator?
Yeah, I can do it. I can do it to groups.
So you can make these groups, and then we will give a 15 minutes. 15 minutes. No, maybe it's better to put an area, let's say environment, and to have the main brainstorming of all participants and to discuss it. Maybe to take some, let's say five areas, 10 minutes each area, and then to have the proposals and then the discussion. Is it okay?
Yes, it is.
Okay, I think that's fine.
Yes, maybe it's better like that. I don't know this because I'm not so strong in technical opportunities in these rooms. So maybe I will give the title now. Let's say start with the environment. So please give your ideas and proposals how you can improve the environment if you have the power to decide. What measures will you take? So we can have a list of all these measures which you propose, and then we'll summarize it. But as I understood, it's technically impossible to make these rooms into have separate groups. So I will invite you, all of you, to join the general chat and the general meeting. So we will do it in this way. Maybe it's easier for all of us. Okay, so we are all together, and we start with this area environment, and we give our proposals regarding the environment. If you are on power in the European Union or in your country where you come from, which are the measures or policies which you will take to improve the situation in environment? Okay, you can put your ideas in the chat. Okay, yeah, I will start first to be easier. Let's say mandatory filters in the factories. The first area is actually the environment. Yes, we are speaking about environment. And can you hear me?
Yes, we do.
Yes, we can hear you.
Yes, we can hear you.
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, so I will read all these ideas which you propose. We speak about awareness. Yes, it's part of these informal things. So increasement of awareness, renewable energy promotions, mandatory industrial wastewater. We have renewable energy again, awareness about environment, reduce pollution. Yes, maybe you can give some concrete measures how to reduce the pollution, aquatic environment, managing water and sanitation. Yes, good thinking. More bicycle paths. Plastic waste, instead of plastic, we can go back to glass or some other materials that are environment friendly. Yes. Save people and nature. Taxes and financial punishment for industries not respecting environmental criteria. Aquatic environment, like, okay, let me. Okay. Marine, such as oceans and seas, fresh waters, lakes, rivers, sustainable policies, sustainable transportation measures like investing in public transportation, promote cycling and walking, incentivize public transport usage over car usage, disposal and waste management, development on green habits in schools, more public transport in rural areas to avoid cars, biodiversity protection, more trees, avoiding factory fumes, support people that are performing illegal actions at the moment and provide another opportunity for them to make money in an environmental friendly job, more touristic sites for the public. Turkey needs trash bins on the streets. Yes, trash bins are important everywhere. Development of technologies and protecting people and nature, encourage circular economy, reduce usage of energy and water through everyday activities or actions rely on renewable energy, implementation of recycling programs. Okay, environmental awareness is critical because it can help to minimize pollution and global warming. It can also lead to a more sustainable world by promoting renewable resources such as solar, wind, and water. Okay. Restrict disposal waste into sea, lake, river. Yes, good measure. Reduce nuclear energy. Good idea, but I don't think it's possible. So yes, you have a very similar thinking. So we can, from all these proposals, we can overthrow capitalism, yes, but it's a different type of action, political action, not environmental action. Reduce CO2 emission, organic agriculture, international cooperation by collaborating with other countries and participating in international agreements. Yes. So we agreed on very common measures like usage of renewable energy sources. It's one of the most important things. Raising of the awareness of the people for protection of the environment, waste management, factory control, system of fines for the one who break the law, the environmental laws, plastic waste collection, return of the other emballage, of course. So independent of its own resources, not surf in Asia or Africa. Yes, it is connected with also with the renewable resources. So not to import energy from outside, but to use your own energy sources. In that way, you will contribute, of course, to the protection of the environment. Then, not using cars so much. It's one of your more frequent proposals. Using bicycles, using public transport, and avoiding using cars, especially in the periods of the year in which we have very high level of pollution of the air. So what do you think? What do you think about changing the environment laws and giving more bigger fines for the people and for the factories that pollute the air? What do you think about that? Maybe we should change the laws to ban cigarettes. Maybe it's a partial solution. Yes, it's good. Unfortunately, I must admit that most of the countries function on the principle of fines, because people are not aware enough of the importance of the protection of the environment, and the state has to put some fines so it can force people to respect the environment. Only few countries, maybe in Europe, have had population which is with high environment awareness, and they don't need a lot of fines and restrictive laws to force people to respect the protection of the environment. Producing plant-based foods, yes, probably organic production is one of the things, but it also has to do with agriculture part, not only with the protection of the environment. So yes, organic production is very important in each of the countries. It's good also for the health of the people, not only for the environment. But generally, I think that we made a good brainstorming regarding the sequence called environment. We have another proposal: reduce train prices in France because the prices are horrible. Yes, not only in France, but in each of the European countries and members of the European Union. The prices of the public transport should be reduced, especially for the young people, because in that way they will be demotivated to use their own cars, and in that way to protect the environment. By using the public transport, if it's affordable and available for everyone, I suppose that everyone will use public transport, or maybe bicycles or some other eco vehicles, to reduce the pollution of the environment. Yes, it's a good idea to reduce the train, the bus prices, and all the public transport prices. In that way, to motivate people to use the public transport more. In that way, they will contribute for the protection of the environment. Okay. Let's move to other area which you prefer. Which area you like to analyze next?
Education.
Education. Okay. So we are continuing with education part. Which measures do you think that are good for development of the education? Not only the higher education, we can speak also about the ordinary school, about the high school, etc., etc. What do you think that European Union, but also the member states, should do to improve the education process generally? Maybe, I don't know. Let me suggest smaller participation of the students. We have another proposals: more classes in primary schools related to EU institutions and more to promote civic engagement or future engagement. Yes, streamline education more across member states so that all degrees carry the same weight. Yes, practical more, theoretical part less. Yes, more practice. We all agree about it, about the need of more practical education. Develop policies to ensure equal access to quality education for all individuals. Yes, it is important, this non-discrimination part, especially having in mind the social aspect, because many pupils and students are not able to pay for the education. Yes, it's a good point. Training teachers, yes, especially to be updated with all actual knowledge. To promote education all along our life. Yes, it's so-called long life learning. We actually have this in the European Union. Training and development for students, trainees, and education professionals abroad. Opportunities abroad for young people and youth workers. Yes. Make lifelong learning and mobility a reality. Improve the quality and efficiency of education and training. So you suggest more finances given for long life learning and for mobility of students, so they can improve their skills, their knowledge, and their participation in the education process. Advocate for more non-formal education. Yes, I agree with that. As you can see, yes, as you can see, this Together workshop is one of these non-formal education processes. Stimulate non-formal learning methodologies in order for the student to dare to think outside of the box and communicate new ideas. Yes, that is one of the most important things, because it has to do with your personal freedom of expression and giving ideas. Integrate education with technology. Technology is part that it should not be avoided, because it's developing all the time, and we have to follow the technology in our educational processes. Increase the Erasmus opportunities some more. You think about probably more mobilities or more finances given for Erasmus, because we have current Erasmus programs, but probably we can improve. European Union, of course, can improve the Erasmus program with more mobilities, with more finances, and with more opportunities for traveling and teaching and studying around Europe. Do refugees have access to school in your respective countries? I'm interested. Yes, it's a good question. Do the refugees have access to school in the countries? Probably is dependent from the country individually, because there is not a common policy regarding this. As I know, reduce school time in France to allow young people to benefit from extracurricular activities. Yes, actually, you should combine, this is a good proposal, you should combine the formal education with the informal activities. But anyway, the base should be in the formal education. Training teachers in cultural intelligence in schools. Yes, not only in cultural intelligence, but also in all other areas needed for improvement of the teachers, of their teaching methodologies. Regularly review and update curriculums. Yes, it is very important because the time is changing, the circumstances are changing, and that's why all the curriculum should be updated and adequate for the new students. To link education with professional life, this is also very important note, because we come out from the faculties as some specialists in some areas, but it doesn't mean that we have to stop our education after having the diploma. We should continue to improve our professional life during the whole life, and to improve and upgrade our skills. Reform the curriculum in a more up-to-date way. Yes, it's connected with the previous measure. Always update the curriculum. Promote the education through giving more assets, tools, projects. Yes, these project activities should become a part also of the formal education, because in that way you will motivate students to to think, as one of you said, outside the box, and to give more creative ideas. Emotional and psychological status of students must be an important aspect not to ignore in education. Yes, it's definitely an important issue which should be considered in each of the educational institutions. Encourage and support lifelong learning opportunities. In Finland, I suppose this is related to the education of refugees, right? In Finland? Do you mean about including the refugees in Finland? ASDA, sorry, I don't know your name. Okay, probably it's about that. Collaborations between educational institutions to create a relevant learning environment. Yes, it is also very important to have intra-institutional cooperation in the framework of the educational institutions, but also to have cooperation with the Ministry of Education in each of the states, with the other institutions which are involved in the creation of the educational policies. Okay. Do we have some other thinking or proposal? So as I understood, I can conclude regarding the education, what is most important is to have quality long life learning, to have more possibilities for using Erasmus, to have a continuous education also of the teachers and their upgrade with the new technical achievements, to have inclusive also education for the refugees, for the migrants, because if they live permanently in one country, they should be included in the educational system and contribute to its development. And I think that we have made the main conclusions regarding education. But if you have some more points, please write them down in the chat. Okay. Okay, let's move to another area then. Which area you like to discuss about now? Any ideas? So we had environment, we had education. Okay. We can continue. Okay, then I will propose one. Okay, we have economy, and then agriculture. Okay, please start with the economy. I know that you have a lot of ideas regarding economic improvement in the member states and the European Union as a whole, and in your countries where you live, outside the European Union also. So please give your economic proposals. We have urbanization as a topic probably, but we'll discuss it maybe later. Financial literacy for youth, how to create a personal balance sheet or income and expenses. Yes, so personal financial education as a start. Yes, it is very important, because if you don't have such a base, then you cannot have contribution on a higher level after that. So you have to have at least basic financial education and financial literacy. Especially, it's important for the young people. But let's say, what do you suggest for improvement of the economy? I don't know, maybe lower taxes or bigger taxes as an idea, or some vouchers for education, strict for all factories that produce more local production. Albina, what is this TFSH? I don't understand the acronym. Can you explain it? Or write the whole name. Okay, we have more ensuring gender equality and reducing the pay gap would improve the economy. Yes. The gender equality regarding the wages and salaries is also very important, and one of the priorities of the United Nations and the European Union, and reducing this pay gap. It can improve the economy in a way, of course, because in that way also you give opportunity also to women to have the same salaries as the men in these positions of headquarters, let's say. Then we have appropriate policies to manage inflation, interest rates, and money supply. Yes, it's a good idea, because we are witnesses of current inflation around, very high inflation around Europe and outside the Europe. Also problem with these interest rates, money supply, because when there is a crisis, it's crisis everywhere. Raise awareness regarding the local producers. So yes, you think that, more of you think that local economy should help for the development of global economy or the state economy. Yes, we can consider as a positive domino effect. If you develop your local economy, then you can contribute for the development of the state economy or European Union economy as a whole. Creating more jobs and more job variety. Yes, it is very important. Although European Union in each of the strategies puts this creating of more jobs as a priority. But the reality is maybe a little bit different because of all this crisis that came. Investments in infrastructure management, for example, these investments can boost productivity, create jobs, attract private investment, and improve the overall competitiveness of an economy. Yes, the infrastructure is definitely very important, and the first thing that is asked by a foreign investor is about the infrastructure. Bigger cuts to be granted for the infrastructure. Yes, infrastructure is definitely very important. Investments from the government for small businesses to attract foreign investments. Do you think, when you think about investments from the government, you think about direct financial support, or do you think about giving legal possibilities for easier investment of the foreign investments? Taxes for disposal of the waste. Yes, it can improve the budget, but also to improve the environmental protection. Invest in education and skills development programs to enhance the quality of the workforce. Yes, that's a very good point, because the improvement of the skills is very demanding task, because the industries are changing, the technologies are changing, and it's important also the workers to be prepared for the new changes. Legal help or financial help or motivating small business. Okay, we have a clarification of this government help for the small businesses. Yes, as you probably remember, during the COVID crisis, there were some efforts for government help in several countries of the small businesses, but I'm afraid that this measure stopped after the COVID. But I think that it should be considered as one of the permanent measures given by the government for the small enterprises. Improving roads and highways, yes, it is very important, especially for these countries which are less developed and don't have a good infrastructure, good roads, good highways, and etc. Because one of the main preconditions for the foreign investments is to have good roads, good infrastructure. We have another proposal. It's investments in innovation and research and development. This, as we can see now, can drive technological advancements and can stimulate international trade agreements. However, it shouldn't become too political, but focused on the supply and demand or market. Yes, all these economic measures should not be politicized, because if they are, then we'll have a contra effect of all these measures. They should be strictly economic measures and measures taken for the benefit of the citizens who live in the countries. Yes, international trade agreements are important. Is important because nowadays we live in an era of globalization where we should have massive free movement of goods, of people, of capital, of services, and all this legally is regulated by these international trade agreements, which are also ratified in the national assemblies, but also in the framework of the international organizations. Implement social safety programs to protect populations in order to provide a safety net during an economic crisis. Yes, and I'm afraid that we think about this only when there is a crisis, not in the regular time. So the states should be more active, especially in a period of crisis, no matter if they are financial crisis or health crisis or different types of crisis. But in these circumstances, actually, the states and the organizations should have the main role of helping the small enterprises, helping the citizens, helping the people to overcome the crisis. So it's an economic, of course, discussion. I'm not an expert in so much in economy. We have a lot of economic experts that will tell you about all these measures which should and could be taken by the states in such periods. But anyway, thank you very much for your ideas regarding the development of the economy. We have another idea: encouraging agricultural industry, which will develop both agriculture and industrial sectors. Okay, so we can continue now with agricultural measures. It's a good point. Yes, agriculture is very important sector in many states of the European Union. Many great part of the GDP of several states is connected with agriculture. So we have to have very good agricultural measures, so we can improve the development of agriculture. Not only in a sense of mechanization and such things, but also in motivating people to be involved in agriculture. Because maybe you know that in many countries, especially here at the Balkans, people are demotivated working in agriculture. they don't have enough subventions given by the states, support, and they are not willing to be part of the agriculture process, and it could be a problem in a long-term way. Okay, we can continue now with agriculture. Do you think that agriculture is well organized currently in the European Union countries, or you think that a lot more have to be done so we have improvement in agriculture? What do you think? Do you think that states should give more money to the agriculture producers, or the European Union should have special programs for financing the direct producers? Okay, special programs are okay, because probably in that way individual producers will have more benefit and they will be motivated to produce more. In that way you will increase the export, you will increase the GDP of the state and the personal incomes, of course, and it will be good for the state. But to start this, most of the countries need external support, financial support. Improve crop varieties and farming techniques. Yes, the techniques are very important, farming techniques, and generally all the technique in agriculture is very important, because they should help for facilitating the agricultural processes. In that way, agriculture produces to use the techniques and the machinery to facilitate the producement and to increase the export. Okay. Let me see, there are some other comments. If you give more support through assets, maybe can increase the production and also raise the payment of hand force, maybe to increase export. Yes, I absolutely agree that that is one of the most important measures, but many states they say that they don't have enough money to do that. The EU should stimulate local farming and educate communities, combined with small-scale new technologies to automate certain tasks which are physically heavy and produce more efficiently. Yes, of course, it can improve the production process, but the question is if they have enough financial possibilities to support these technologies for each of the agricultural producers, or for some of them. Provide financial support and give credit to farmers. Yes, when you mean about credit, I suppose you mean about direct support by the state and not credit from the bank, because credit from the banks can have sometimes very high rates, interest rates, and the farmers are demotivated to apply for such a credit. Production must also be based on demands. Yes. It's you always have to consider the demand, but the supply according to the demand of the market. But let's point out that nowadays maybe it's not so crucial, because you can if you have more production, you can export it in the other countries, and you can import the goods and services that you don't have in your country. But anyway, you should make a survey which goods you need and which are more demanded. Credits, I would say, to win different prizes, raise the competition. Yeah, the competition is also very important, because if you have more competition, then you will have lower prices and you will have better process of production. Okay, some of you mentioned something about urbanization, right, as a topic? Yes, please. Okay. What is the next area you like to discuss? Maybe one or two more, if you want. Tourism. Okay. Let's give ideas about tourism. I'm sure that you are creative and you will think about a lot of measures that can improve the tourism in Europe, but generally also in the world. What can we do for the tourism? When we speak about tourism, please not think only about conventional tourism, but also for the alternative tourism. We have already spoken about the education. Preserve and protect the history and culture. Yes, it's a good for touristic promotion. The cultural heritage is also very important for the development of tourism. Make night train attractive. Yes, it's one of the concrete measures in some places to have. Excuse me, do you think about night train generally, or good marketing strategies? Yes, marketing is important everywhere, also in the tourism. Improve promotion. We can very easily improve the promotion of tourism because we have internet now. It was difficult maybe 40 years ago to promote tourism, but now it's very easy because we are all we all use internet. Ensure the safety of visitors. Yes, it's very important because if you don't do that, then the next year you will not have visitors, or you will have very few visitors. So the safety is very important for each of the countries. Advertising on social media, travel website, and online magazines. Yes. More projects, art, festival, environment. Yes, it's very interesting idea to promote the local culture in all these touristic places where you can tell the foreigners, the tourists, about the place they have visited, about the history, the culture, the heritage, to make some artistic festivals. Okay, so you propose night train based countries to avoid the plane traveling. Okay, where it is possible, it is a good idea to have more trains, not only to use this air traffic. Make it easy for tourists to use local transports. Also very important measure, because when you go to one place, you also are interested in visiting the around area, and the local transportation should be very good to give the tourist opportunities to see also some places around the place they visit as the main one during the touristic visit. Special packages can be used for tourists, such as accommodation and transportation insurance. Yes, usually this is made by the tourist agencies. Some packages for the tourists, including, you know, the transport, the accommodation, food, etc., etc. Insurance also. Promotion of ecotourism is also very important, because it includes not only development of the environment of the tourism, but also protection of the environment. Public-private partnerships for mobility and infrastructure management as a framework for regional coordination for public transport and development. It's very interesting idea. Where possible, it's good to have a good link and connection between the cities and the rural areas, so the tourists have more opportunities to visit more and more places in the area. Then encourage the development of diverse tourism products to attract a wider range of visitors. Yes, it's very important this diversification of the touristic offer, because there are different types of tourists that want to visit the seas, the beaches, right? But also the many tourists want to visit the mountains, lakes, etc. So you have to give a very wide offer for all the tourists, so you can attract different types and different categories of tourists. Simplify visa procedures. Yes, it's one of the administrative issues which is very important, and which should be done at least for the summertime period where most of the tourists come to visit the countries. For tourism, visa should not be obstacle at all. Having more Erasmus, yes, Erasmus actually, it's a good point, because Erasmus is not only for education, it's also for touristic promotion, networking, getting know more and more people, creating friendships. So yes, it can be also considered as part of the tourism too. Regarding the procedures, yes, develop guidelines and regulations for responsible tourism. Yes, it is very important to know all the details when you visit some country or some places. It's important to have the details regarding not only about the transport schedule or the attractions around the place, but also for the rules. Maybe not about political system, but for the rules of behavior, and some technical details which will facilitate your stay in the concrete place. It would be great to have some more public transportation offer for European citizens within the EU, like the new train offers we see within some EU countries like France and Germany, Italy, etc. Yes, I remember that when I was a teenager, I wanted to use the train more often that I could. So probably young people are very fond of traveling with train, as I can see from your expressions. So you mostly focus on the railway infrastructure and better connection of the railway of the railway links from the states. Planes are very boring and polluting. Yes, they can sometimes they can be boring, of course, but do you mind traveling? Because if you travel with plane, let's say half an hour and a half, you should, in this distance you will pass with train for, let's say, I don't know, maybe 1 day or 20 hours. It could be a lot of time traveling by trains, but I suppose it's more interesting for you to travel by train, as I can see from your text. Okay. Some other ideas regarding the improvement of the tourism. What do you think about ethnotourism? Yes, train is a journey. You can make a lot of stories regarding the train, like the journey is longer. Plane is just moving. Yes, I agree with that. But what do you think about ethno and ecotourism? Do you support this type of tourism? Are you fond of going somewhere for such tourism? It's more of an ecological issue regarding the transport. We are now going back to the transport. I prefer planes for efficiency, yes. Okay, have an invitation for some group, right? Facebook group, which consider the environmental problems and questions. Yes, there is a link who wants to join this group. Yes, I meant about ecotourism also, and this not non-conventional tourism, if I can say like that. Do you have some ideas about that? Are you interested for using such tourism? to be part of our, ecotourism, ethnotourism. Okay. Yeah, every kind of tourism is nice and specific. So there are many different types of tourists. So you should increase your touristic offer. Okay, so we can analyze one more area if you like. You can propose. You will be camping, yes, in Norway for Erasmus. Yes, camping is also very interesting. I think especially for young people. Okay, do you like some more areas for analysis? Or you are tired? Okay. Exploring more. Yes, the projects are important to popularize all this eco and ethnotourism, but you need a lot of time for that, to make special, strategies, to implement the strategies in practice, etc., etc. Okay, so do we have some more ideas or something else to add?
Okay, if not, we can lead this online training at the end of this session. Also, I would like to open your camera and make a group photo.